Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul, and today is an epically rainy day outside, so I'm actually excited because the tree farm, my 500 white spruce trees, they're going to be taken care of. My raised tree bed's taken care of, and all my outdoor bonsais. So I thought I'd take advantage of this to give you a little update on the trees that I've been working on in my past videos over the last month, and show you how they're recovering, and give you a little ranch update. So that's what's coming up on today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. All right, so let's start with the star of the show, my original bonsai, the Delonix Regia. I pruned it hard back a few weeks ago, and as you see, it has recovered very quickly. It's throwing out a lot of growth, and this is when it's my favorite. There hasn't been any insect attacks. We haven't had any scorching from like a really sunny day or anything like that. Sometimes that can happen. So it's just, this is when it looks its most beautiful to me. With the height that I have the trunk before it starts with foliage, the 1/3 to 2/3 that follows the general rule of thumb of what you want on a bonsai, you know, first third trunk and then top 2/3 canopy. So this will eventually, probably in 2 weeks, be a little, you know, out of that range because it'll be up here. Very fast growing tree, very fast growing. If you're just getting into bonsai, I highly recommend this one because you get to do a lot of work to it. I grew some pine trees, some Pinus auristata. They're outside in the rain, as you see. Nice rainy day. They, you know, they're the same age. I've pruned this thing probably 10 times. I haven't touched the Pinus auristata, and they're maybe up to there on the trunk of this Delonix. So if you start with all pines and evergreens and slow growing trees, you might lose that, you know, that excitement of getting into bonsai. So I definitely recommend getting some subtropical and tropical trees because they grow faster and you're allowed to actually practice your art. So luckily, from start to finish, this thing is 2.5 years old, maybe a little older than that, a little more than 2.5 years old. I haven't killed this bad boy. So that must mean that it's a hardy tree that's nice and forgiving. So yeah, I'd recommend that. That's the update there. This is probably getting pruned back soon. These are my pineapple guava, little forest. Very slow growing. This thing's a couple of years old. And I just wanted to let it grow out wild and get some thickness to these trunks, but they're really not thickening up, but that's okay. So on a previous video, I had this fugly succulent, and this is actually the cutting that I took off the top, and it looks like it's actually going to take. So as the leaves withered up, I pulled them off, and so we're left with that little bit of canopy, but it's maintaining now, so I feel like it's rooting. So you don't want to water those too much while they're doing that because they could totally rot. I actually spray them with a water bottle for the majority of the time rather than watering it, and that seems to be working. So my Rose of Sharon just got done blooming, but it looks like we have another bloom coming. This guy's getting some crazy aerial roots, looking nice. And his little babies that I planted as mame, they have all taken and since kicked off some nice little baby nodes there, looking good. I pruned this jade the other day with Franny. If you haven't seen that video, it's pretty cool. This is Laura, my little wedding topper here. Money tree on the right and spider plant on the left. Spider plant for her crazy hair, money tree for my crazy money obsession. This is my specimen baobab tree. Couple of years old, most difficult tree to grow. Every single step of the way, it will challenge you from just getting into the seed, getting it to germinate, and then actually getting it to grow, and then getting it to survive post pruning. It's all been a challenge. Lots of fun though. All right, we got a little weeping white pine to the right, baby. Rose of Sharon has survived. A little Sonoma cactus, all from seed. This is another pineapple guava. That doesn't need any pruning yet, and neither does that one. A little baby citrus tree. I don't know which one because I'm always putting citrus seeds in soil. So you see this is a Delonix cutting because they get so long and leggy. It's actually taken and I'm finally getting some budding back here. So I'm enjoying how large it is right now, but it would be nice to, have something else coming off of it. Like this fig, the fig goes out, but it also has another branch to fill it in. So with a little bamboo and cacti backdrop. Loving that planting. The palm trees, the Canary Island date palms are coming in nicely. And these are just a couple of nice little accent plants. I feel like it really matches each other there. We're getting some new growth on the Queen of the Night. Yeah, Queen of the Night. So this is like a succulent cactus that blooms once a year. And it comes from Asia, and it's known to have like mystical powers. So that's intriguing. That's why I really like that one. A ton of jade cuttings. And one baby juniper in there. I'm going to have to remove that one and get it outside probably next month. It's grown from seed indoors over winter, and through the season here, I didn't want to mess with it. It's my only juniper from the Italian Alps. I think it was this castle called like Dorna Castle or something like that. We drove up this windy, awesome road all the way to this really old castle, and there was this beautiful juniper up there, and I grabbed a couple of the cones, and I got one out of hundreds, so it's really special to me. Still have some poinsettia blooming. On a previous episode, I did a plant rescue because during soccer celebration, I knocked this off the fridge. So I have it in a nice, hardy Italian terracotta pot now. There's no way I can knock that bad boy off the fridge. So it seems to be doing okay. Some leaves have died out, but once it roots, I'm confident they're hardy. Another poinsettia. I'm probably going to have to get to pruning my poinsettias. My sole lemon tree that survived. I had about 15 citrus trees, and they were really attacked terribly by scale insects and mealybugs. And when I repotted them, worked with the roots, treated them for insects, only really one survived. So, yeah. This is a planting Laura and I did together. It definitely is going to need some pruning soon. It's way too big. You see, this was a single last time, and it has now made 3 branches. So we'll probably prune it closer to here and see if we can get it to, be a nice little poof, for lack of better words. This one, I'm not impressed with how it came back. You see, this was like a flowering tip. So this wasn't the foliage like this. It actually flowered like these pink flowers. Once they got done blooming, I pruned it there, and I pulled off some of the older nodes, and I don't know, it's split, but it's still just a little leggy. So I'll probably prune that back hard. And this guy's cool. He's just crawling all over the place. All right, so I have my Delonix regia here that popped up out of nowhere from seed. There's 10 of them in there, with a couple of avocado plants. This is a Delonix cutting, and I'm talking, it's got to be over a year old, and it was just like so ugly and hanging out here, and it had these two tiny little leaves, and nothing changed, but it stayed green, so I kept, watering it and treating it, and so finally I was like, okay, this thing is ugly, so I just pruned it the other day, and probably can't tell, but right there, it's actually kicking off some growth, and up there. So I'm thinking it's alive and it's going to survive. Laura grew this aloe plant from seed. It's doing really well, very slow grower. You see my Schefflera grown on top of a lava rock, roots over lava rock. It is recovering, kicking off some nice little growth here. It's coming towards the camera here, and so I have it directionally station so that it can grow back across the pot, because I want to get that like S shape. Here is a Delonix regia that it had germinated outside because I just had thrown a bunch of seeds in different pots, and this thing popped up along with 3 others. And I brought it in because, Northwest Connecticut, it's not going to be able to survive outdoors year round. So I figured this was a good time to bring it in. And I shipped 3 off to Bonsai Broskies, but my faith in the U.S. postal system is dwindling because, 1 went to Ireland, 2 went to Canada, and none have arrived. And I sent them out on Monday, and today's Saturday. So slightly frustrated with that. I really wanted to hook my Bonsai Broskies up. With something that they didn't have, my favorite tree. And if, they don't arrive, that means they were seized in customs. Or if they do arrive, at this point, I'm really concerned that they will not be alive. I packaged them nicely, and they were watered reasonably. But it's getting on 5 days now, 5-6 days, and that's scary. All right. Here is my geranium bonsai, inspired by Bonsai J in Canada. And I had pruned out, it had completely weeped out of the pot and flowered, and it was looking beautiful. And then I pruned it back hard to stimulate some growth and get some thickness to the trunk, make it look more tree-like. So hopefully we're getting there. I love the flowers, the little flower pop amongst the other trees. Very cool. So I pruned this bad boy up the other day. It was attacked by spider mites, avocado plant, and a black locust. And the black locust is already kicking off. Green, 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 which I'm excited. These are actually pretty low on the trunk. So I'm going to let this thing grow, and I'm going to really keep an eye on it for insect, infestation, because they absolutely love it, all of the insects. This is that fugly succulent that I was talking about in the other room with the topper that I just spray. So this is the base, so it had the good root system, but I totally took the top off. And it's been a while, but I'm getting one there. And my camera's not going to focus, but whatever. That thing is going to grow. Here's the money tree I pruned the other day. I pruned that back hard, and I'm already kicking off some nice new growth. Lots of energy in these trees, grouping of 5. Laura did this little photo table for some of our memories. Thought it was cool. It has little triangle stools that you could roll out and use it as like a little card table or something. Pencil cactus. We repotted that recently, and I'm loving where it's at. Sitting on my patriotic fireplace with my grandfather's flag that he was buried with, my non-commissioned officer's sword from when I was in the Marine Corps, and then a Marine Corps inspired American flag. So down here in these blue jacarandas, I have a grouping of 3. And then you see the other stuff growing. That's actually this plant. So it flowers white year round. It just keeps kicking off white flowers. And I guess the seeds have fallen. And so I have a bunch of the plants in there and in here just naturally. So that's cool. Some sort of citrus, some succulents. This thing is usually full of a bunch of cuttings and things, but I have planted them as of late. So I actually have some room for once. A client's bamboo that needed a rescue because their kitty cat discovered it and decided to eat the foliage. All right, this is one of my favorites here. This is a baobab planting of 3. I started collecting stones that I thought fit like an African landscape. I like these darker red ones. And then this one is just totally desert looking like. Love it. So you see they're growing really well. I pruned them, I'd say about a month ago, and they're killing it. They're not thickening up like the other one did, but they're alive and thriving, so that's cool. So this guy is an arching fig, and I have to change this entire configuration soon because I have been told And I looked it up, and it's true that this process actually will kill the tree in like 8 years, even though it's cool. So I got to undo that. Some blue jacarandas, letting them grow nice and tall. And we'll finish off here. So here's a couple more of those Sonoma cacti that came from seed. And here's 1, 2, 3 chili peppers from seed. It was part of a level 2 bonsai kit. I did that back in February, and they've just now started to gain like muscular growth. They were maybe that tall, and every time I'd water, they would almost like try to crawl out of the pot, like they didn't have deep roots or anything like that. So I'm happy they're taking off. A Delonix regia just decided it was going to pop up in one of the pots too, so I'll either remove that at some point or make it an interesting planting of 2. Here I have a few cuttings for mame pots for my pencil cactus, and they were much smaller when I planted them, but hey, look, they're really taking off, which makes me think not the best for bonsai. So I might have to rethink that, or not for bonsai, for mame, because they're just going to grow tall and leggy in these tiny little pots. They end up falling over, and I have to brace them against each other. So I'm going to think about that. And tier, I'm unwilling to admit that my Zelkova in a duck pot is dead, but I think it is. This was one of my first successful trees. It really branched out well, and when I root pruned it and put it in pumice and perlite, I believe it just needed more attention and watering than I gave it, and it might have got scorched one day and never recovered. So I'm not trying to end on a bad note, so let's find something good to talk about. Go. Trident maple there. What are we gonna finish with on the positive side? Let's just finish with my baobab tree. Focus on that trunk. Look at that. You're really starting to look like a tree, bro. So we're getting some branching. I like the Y shape. It doesn't look good now, but I think growing away from each other enables them both to develop a full canopy, which is really what I'm looking for. Really cool. I have an obsidian rock in there. A gemstone over here. I don't know what that is because I bought 20 at the same time and I don't have that good memory. And this jade that I pruned up with Franny the other day. So yeah, that's the update, y'all. Nice rainy day, lazy Saturday. We're just hanging out, enjoying some family time, and appreciating all the work that goes into creating these bonsai and these plants and these trees. So that's my favorite part. There's continuous watering, there's continuous insect control, fertilizing, all of these things, pruning, repotting, and that's awesome. But I love nothing more than walking around with my morning cup of coffee and just appreciating, the spoils of my work. So that's going to do it for us today here at Jarhead Bonsai, y'all. I hope you have a great, restful, awesome Saturday, and we'll see you next time. Take care.